What if I told you that the very first State of the Union address was nothing like what you see on TV today? Stick around, because this story reveals how one nervous speech created a tradition that's lasted over 230 years. January 8, 1790, New York City, the temporary capital of a brand new country that's barely holding itself together. George Washington stands before Congress, and he's about to do something no one has ever done before: give the first State of the Union address. And he's terrified. Think about this. Washington has just finished fighting the most powerful empire on Earth. He's crossed the Delaware in freezing water. He's survived Valley Forge. But standing in front of Congress to give a speech? That makes his hands shake. The United States is only about a year old under the new Constitution. 13 states that can barely agree on anything. Some people still aren't sure this whole democracy experiment is going to work. And Washington knows that everything he does right now is setting a precedent. Future presidents will look back at this moment and say, this is how it's done. So what does he talk about in this first address? He congratulates North Carolina for finally joining the Union. They'd been holding out because the Constitution didn't yet have a Bill of Rights. He talks about defense, about protecting the frontiers, about the importance of education. Nothing flashy, nothing dramatic, just practical ideas for a country trying to find its footing. Here's what makes this beautiful. Washington could have used this moment to grab power. He could have made himself king, and plenty of people wanted him to. Instead, he shows up, gives a humble speech, and reinforces the idea that the president works for the people, not the other way around. The whole speech takes about 10 minutes. No television cameras, no instant fact-checking on social media. Just a room full of representatives and a man who understands that he's building something bigger than himself. And get this, Washington was so nervous about public speaking that he actually practiced this speech multiple times. The man who faced down British armies was anxious about words. He knew that his tone, his delivery, his very presence would echo through centuries. After he finishes, Congress responds, not with tweets or cable news commentary, but with a formal written reply delivered days later. Can you imagine? The whole process is so civil, so thoughtful. They're literally making up the rules as they go, and they're trying to get it right. For the next few years, presidents continued this tradition in person. Then Thomas Jefferson decided it was too much like a king addressing Parliament, so he sent written messages instead. That lasted over 100 years until Woodrow Wilson brought back the in-person address in 1913. But it all started here, in a room in New York City, with a reluctant speaker who understood that the strength of a democracy isn't in the power of its leader, but in the humility of its service. Washington set the tone that day. Respectful, accountable, focused on the work, not the glory. And every president since, whether they realize it or not, is walking in the footsteps of that first nervous speech. The next time you watch a State of the Union, remember it started with a man who didn't want fame or power. He just wanted to serve. And in serving, he showed us what leadership really looks like. If this story moved you, join the History Sparks community by hitting subscribe. Every single day, we're bringing you moments that remind you of what's possible when people choose courage over comfort and service over self. And here's a thought. You have your own State of the Union moments, times when you had to stand up and speak the truth even when your hands were shaking, times when you chose to do the right thing instead of the easy thing. Have you captured those stories? That moment when your grandfather stood up at a town meeting despite his fear? When your mother addressed the school board to fight for something she believed in? These acts of quiet courage are your family's legacy. Don't let them disappear into the past. Write them down, record them. Your descendants deserve to know about the courage in their blood, the integrity in their lineage, the moments when their ancestors chose to serve something bigger than themselves. These are the stories that teach us who we are. See you tomorrow with another spark from history.